Welcome to another Empower Me show with Pam Bright. I'm Pam Bright. I'm your hostess for this program. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we are going to talk about full body system wellness. And that is a lot of words strung into one sentence, but I know what I mean, and I'm going to share that with you. But before we get started, it really helps me to really disconnect from the world that I've been living in for the last, few hours of my life. However long you got up this morning is how long you've been awake today. I've been awake for a little while, so I'm going to actually disconnect from all of the other noise in my head and actually be here now with you. One of the ways that I do that is with my little rattle. So I'm just going to do some rattling and releasing what I no longer need so that I can really be present with you right here, right now. So I invite you to get yourself a glass of water. That really helps your energetic system to be here with the energetics of today, as well as disconnecting from anything else that might be in the way of your presence. So again, I'm going to just do some rattling. I invite you to come along. Ooh. And what that does is it actually releases the excess. Some people use, in the Native American tradition, especially, they use like smudge or sage, cedar sometimes can be used as you burn it. It can waft away with smoke, excess negative energies that you no longer need. The rattle does the same thing. Sometimes I tone, sometimes I'll drum, depending on the day. Today, I really needed to just release all of the excess from today so that I can be here present with you now. So we're going to talk about the, as I said, full body system wellness. Do you ever feel like you've just kind of been dropped here into this body on this planet? I know sometimes I do. Definitely today, I kind of have been reliving that experience of, oh, I just felt kind of heavy and lethargic and kind of pissy and not really myself. Ever feel like that for you? Well, this is a really good show for you because we're going to talk all about the experience of being human. What is that like for you? How is it that you function in daily life? How are you affected by other people and society? How are you reacting or not reacting in the world appropriately or not appropriately? That's all of the different energies around this particular topic. And I've actually created a program. We did this last year, my husband and I, in the middle of the pandemic, um, really back in March of last year, 2020, is when we started creating this program. And it is a 21-day program um, called 21 Days of Full Body Wellness, Full Body System Wellness. And so we are going to go through that in the next 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 months, I believe, to really share with each other and with who we are as spiritual beings having human experiences. What does it take to be here now in this time frame, in this lifetime, being with all of the excess noise, all of the excess energies, all of the uncertainty and the noise of the world? What does it take to live out this lifetime with power and with joy, with purpose and acceptance? That's what I want to talk to you about. So, how have you been living in this pandemic from 2020 till now in 2021? we do actually have the same opportunities to live a full life than ever before. Just because we're having circumstances in our lives does not mean that we don't get to pursue whatever it is that's in front of us to pursue. So I really invite you to take a moment and just really assess inside of yourself, who are you? What do you want? What does your life mean to you? Are you ready to take on this experience of full body system wellness? What do I mean by that? Well, the fullness of life. When we're full, we are satiated, means that we have experienced life in its entirety. When we have a great meal, we were hungry before we ate, then we got filled up from our meal, then we're full and satisfied. So, satisfaction when we're experiencing a full life is what this program offers. Body, well, we are in human bodies, right? This is a body that is made up of all kinds of systems within it. So I've got my lymphatic system and my respiratory system and my blood that flows through my veins. I've got my muscular system. Lots of different systems that are functioning without my conscious consent. They're just working the way that God intended for them to work. And within all of those systems, they all function separately, but they also function together. So they become a unit, right? So now we're at full, we're at body, human body, and then we're at system or systems, right? The object of all of them together is to be well. What is your experience of being well? What is your experience of well being? What is your experience of living fully in your life, making conscious choices so that you can, once again, make a great choice about your life? Again, that's what this program is about for you. So I was just reading something, I'm sorry. So really look at the different ways that you are experiencing the different parts of you, like your mind, like your heart, like your feelings, like your physical experience of feeling well or feeling unwell. Those are parts of you, but as a whole, they are all interconnected. So my mind can actually affect the way I'm feeling in my emotional body, as well as how I'm feeling in my physical body. Did you know that you can affect the way your physical body feels by the way that you shift your energy in your heart? So, for instance, I'll give you an example. This morning, I was having a really rough time and I was having a little charge around communication. Well, I looked at that, I shifted my energy through music, through prayer, through deep breathing, and I actually shifted the way that I was experiencing life. You too can shift that. And this program allows you to really delve deeply into these experiences so that you can really go through your life with power and conviction. So, what else can I tell you about the full body system wellness that I'm talking about? I believe that each of us is in charge of our destiny. And through our commitment to who we are, we get to affect the outcome of our lives. So if you're having a challenge with a loved one, if you're having a challenge with going to school, if you're having a challenge with a coworker, if you're having a challenge with a law that has been passed wherever you live, then it's up to you to affect the way you're feeling about it so that you are not disempowered by that. So we're about to take a break. And when we come back, I'm actually going to go deeper into this program that I talked about. We're going to talk about phase one, which is all about dealing with human problems. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a little bit to talk about human problems and what full body system wellness means to you. Welcome back. We are in the next part of our show, which is the full body system wellness episode. This is episode one of this particular episode. We're talking about human problems. Human problems. So, do you have any human problems yourself? Or have you ascended beyond the physical plane and you're living up here somewhere in the ethers? Well, guess what? I need you to come down into your body. Okay. It's vital that we experience humanity. And I know that that is a challenge for everyone on the planet. Okay. I've been there. I know that world. Okay. I also know the world of trying to ignore my human self and just deal in my spiritual life, connecting to God, connecting to source, connecting to crystals, connecting to, nature, and not doing anything about my physical self, this vessel that I live in. So I invite you to take this journey with me and really look at how your human interaction with life is causing you some challenge, because everybody in human form has this challenge of whether it's fear, whether it's society, money, health, relationships, their stories that they hear about themselves or other people. Everybody has a challenge. So how do you know when you can move past whatever you're living in? Big part of that is choice. So if we were to look at fear itself, there are actually some really significant, easy steps that you can take with fear. If you're up against fear and it's right in front of you, first thing you can do is stop. Just stop. It's like putting the brakes on. Just stop. The next thing is to breathe. So when I get into fear, my first reaction is to either run away or to get angry. That's actually our fear response, being angry. It's the opposite of fear, is the anger piece, right? For some people who can't allow themselves to be angry, sometimes they'll go into withdrawal and they'll actually shut down and it becomes apathy. So we want to stop. We want to breathe. When we really breathe deeply and out, it actually interrupts that automatic response. The next step after breathing and stopping is asking. Ask yourself, what is it that I'm afraid of? Can I do anything about it? Do I want to make another choice? If I want to make another choice, how am I going to do that? And then after that, after you ask yourself, you ask your heart, you ask your guidance, you ask your God of your understanding, help, please help. Then you need to stop and listen. So stop, breathe, ask, listen, and then switch. So when I say switch, what do I mean? Make a different choice, because you don't have to be in an automatic response all the time. You can this is actually bringing yourself up to the conscious level and making your emotions at your command rather than vice versa, because we are automatic responders when it comes to being human. But when we bring it up to the conscious level and we use these tools, we can actually shift things into a different way of being. So one of the things that has happened for me in my life is that, especially as a young person, I dealt with a lot of fear. And since I was up against a lot of fear, I actually became an introvert quite profoundly. I was hiding out a lot. I was very shy. I was afraid of people, and I didn't really know how to handle much at all. My choice that I made in my life was that I went to drugs and alcohol in order to deal with my fear. And instead of fixing it, it actually shut me down even more. And so it took more alcohol and more drugs so that I could get really angry, so then I didn't have to think about being afraid, right? It was this vicious cycle all the time, right? So it wasn't really a great fixer to use alcohol and drugs as a response to fear. When I got sober, when I chose to take away the thing that was killing me, I all of a sudden, all of my feelings came up again. So again, all of my fears came up again. So I had to figure out how to make some new choices. So one of the things that I did was that I learned about this deep breathing, because often what happens when someone's dealing with a lot of fear is that they go into a panic mode. And then once you're in a panic mode, it's really difficult to think straight and to know any other way to act besides reacting to the circumstances. So when you deep breathe, it interrupts the pain cycle, it interrupts the automatic response, and then you can be given new tools to be able to function. So fullbodysystemwellness.com is where you can go and get really good access to the explanation about this program that I have, which is the 21-day full body system wellness program. And each of the times that we come to this episode in the month, we're going to go deeper into this program. So the first day of the program is fear. I believe the second day of the program is dealing with society. The third day, I believe, is dealing with relationships. And then we go into money. We go into your physical body, how you're dealing with your physical body. And what are you telling yourself about your physical body? Many people have a lot of conversation about their bodies and to themselves and other people. And they live their lives in quiet desperation often when they have issues with their bodies. I know for myself, I certainly did all through growing up. So the 5 basic steps again are: stop. Stop whatever you're doing. Stop, then breathe. When you stop and breathe, it interrupts the pain cycle, it interrupts the automatic response, gives you an opportunity to then think. And when you think about what is happening, then you have an opportunity to ask for help. Ask for help from your guides, ask for help from another person, ask for assistance by listening to a piece of music, ask for help by reading a book. There are many ways to ask. Then what you need to do is actually listen for the response because your guides are always waiting to respond to you. But we're going to get into that part of the program in phase two, which is next, I believe, the next month. We'll get into phase two. This is a program that you can actually go through by yourself. It's all made up. We created it last year, as I said. We went, I think, March, April, and May. By the end of May, we were complete with the program and ready to sell it. So it is for sale. And as I said, it is a full program, complete with videos, Zooms, exercises, inquiries, music. There's a playlist of music. There's some TED Talks and some different things that you can do to really delve into each day. So I invite you, if this interests you, to email me at theempowermeshow@gmail.com and ask me more questions about how to purchase this. You can also go to fullbodysystemwellness.com and find out really more in depth about what I cover in the program. And we're going to go to break early so that you can really think about kind of where you're at with this, what I've talked about so far. What I want you to do is really look inside you. Look at how you've been living your life. Are you feeling empowered or are you feeling defeated? Do you feel like you have the necessary tools to be able to really evaluate your life and take inventory with your life in a conscious way? And do you know where you can get the support that you need in order to do the things that you want to do? That's really important. So when we come back, we're going to talk about a little more in depth about what's in the program, because I really want to give you full access to the information so that you can make a conscious choice and for your own health and your own well-being. This is to your full body system wellness. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. So we are talking about full body system wellness today. And I've been talking to you about phase one of the full body system wellness program, the 21-day full body system wellness program. So the intention that we first created with this program is that it's with the premise that it takes 21 days to create a new habit. And so with that idea, my husband and I launched off on creating this program, and it came really fast. So I'm very impressed by how fast it came to us. It was divinely led and it was divinely created. But I can tell you that this first phase, you might be a little bit up against it when you go through it. And I'm just going to say that because I love you and I want to be real with you, that when we're looking at dealing with human problems, I know myself, I would like to think that I can handle anything and all the time by myself. What about you? Do you feel like you can handle everything by yourself all the time and that you should? That's the key right there. We have this belief, many of us in human bodies, that we should be able to have our stuff together as human beings, right? Well, guess what? Why do you think there are counselors? Why do you think that the mental health field is so popular? Why do you think that they are so busy all the time? Because we have problems and because people need solutions. And this last year and this year, it's been a little challenging for many people. Okay. Let's get really honest about that. Okay. It's a challenging time. What I want to tell you is you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. Hopefully, this program, the Empower Me Show, is going to give you some tools to be able to make a change. So let's just take a moment. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to go inside of where you live in your heart. Let's do this process. Just stop the noise, stop whatever you're doing and just breathe. And then I want you to ask, what is it that I'm really up against right now? What is really bothering me? What do I feel afraid of? Am I angry at something or someone? Do I feel like I have a habit that I can't break, that I really want to change? Do I feel like I'm running up against a lot of discord in my family? Am I out of a job and I need money? What is it that you're up against? In this very moment, I invite you to ask the being that you connect to, whatever that is, whether you believe it or not, just ask for help in this moment. And then I invite you to open your eyes and come back to this moment and consider that in this moment, you can receive an answer. Did you know it can be that easy? This moment is your magic moment. Okay. This moment can be your freedom because I have some tools that can help you. I've got some books to read. I've got some songs to listen to. I've got a program that can assist you. In each of these Zooms that I have on this 21 days, I go into depth about each of the phases. I go in depth about money and society and your belief systems and your relationship with yourself and other people. And we actually go deep into who you are and what you want. And I hope by the end of phase one that you will get really a basis for how to deal with some of this stuff that you're up against. So then in phase two, we get to go into some spiritual solutions, which is awesome. And then in phase three, we get to integrate it all together and it becomes a full program for you. So one of the things that I do in this course is that I actually coach you. I coach you in different practices that will assist you in facing yourself. Maybe you've never faced yourself before. Maybe you've done some counseling. Maybe you've gone to some circles and had some healing. Maybe you've not done anything like this before. Well, this is your opportunity to take it on and to really dive into this pool of what they call self-help. Self-help, self-transformation, self-seeking, the journey. I started this journey years ago when I got sober, but it wasn't easy. Okay. But it was a turning point for me. So I would guess at this moment in time, if you're listening to this program, that there's a turning point in your life. You're at that place of questioning. You're at that place of wondering, how am I going to get through this 24 hours? How am I going to face my family? How am I going to face my employer? Do I even want to go to work today? Do I even like my job? Do I even like myself? Right? Well, guess what? We can look at all of that. And I am available to you as your coach. I am available as your teacher. I am available as your mentor and your friend and your guide. And I will assist you every step of the way through this. But this is your life and you get to take it on. As I said, it's a self-guided course that you can take. If you wanted to take 21 days, you could, but that would be really extreme. And it would take a lot of work. You can take 21 months, you can take 21 weeks, you can revisit some of the program, you can go through it with a friend. That would be a great thing to do, or a family member, especially if you have someone that in your family that you know is your confidant that could assist you through it, and it would help both of you to be able to interact. That would be really powerful for you. Um, there are a few of us that are in a Facebook group together that I can actually have you go into as you're going through this program, and then you can connect to other people that are also in the program. So um, let's see, what else can I tell you about this? So the first day that we were here in the Empower Me show, I talked to you about my story. And I told you about how my story really impacted who I am today. My story of my childhood was awkward. I was disconnected to the world. I was disconnected to myself, even. And I was definitely disconnected to God. And when I chose to take the drugs and take my survival tools, if you will, away from me and stop using the things that were killing me and actually face myself in the mirror, um, what I was faced with was healing. That's a that's a courageous step, folks, to be willing to heal yourself, to be willing to face those demons, to be willing to face the things about you that you're afraid of, to be willing to say, you know what, I've been faking my life. I've been pretending like I'm okay when I'm really not. I'm really angry. I'm really afraid. I really don't know how to do this. I really don't understand. I'm confused. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's important to do that. So, this is what I'm about and I'm available for, is to be real and authentic with you. And so if it seems like I'm having a rough time right now with you, it's because I am, because this goes really deep. And that's what I am here to tell you, is that I don't sugarcoat anything. Okay, I'm here to be real with you. And I am going through this program myself, facing my own demons, facing my own shadows, facing all those things that have been in the way of my full body system wellness in the world. So that's my invitation to you. Go to fullbodysystemwellness.com, look and see what all of the program's about. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, I'm going to go a little bit deeper once again, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how to reach me, what you can look forward to, and how this whole thing works for you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Okay, we are rounding out our hour now with the deeper the deeper explanation about this 21-day program. So I've been talking about really the human experience and what that's like for all of us. So we're either dealing with, like, what am I here for? Like, have I just been dropped here? Right? If we've come to terms with have I been dropped here, and the answer is no, you haven't been dropped here, but sometimes it feels like that, then you might be dealing with fear, right? Well, you also might be dealing with society, like, oh my gosh, so much is happening in society, right? So I have some steps for you about that, and then I'm going to share with you. So, as I mentioned with fear, the steps of fear is to stop the noise, just stop the chatter, and breathe deeply. Next thing after breathing and stopping is to ask. You ask for a solution, you ask for help, you ask to bring your fear down, you ask to stop the panic, then you listen. You open your ears and you listen to what is what advice is given to you, what help is given to you, what the next thing is to do. Then you make a switch. You make a choice to switch it up. Here we're looking at society and all of the effects and the reactions and the noise of society and all of the stuff of the world, right? So the first step is to turn it off. Okay. Turn off the news, stop reading the newspaper, stop the noise, all the inputs, all of the computer, all of the electronics, all of the stuff, all the noise, right? We live right above the Alderwood Mall, and there's a lot of noise out there, a lot of traffic and electrical stuff in the ethers, right? Just stop the noise. Sometimes I have to put earplugs on to stop the noise because there's so much sound. Stop the blame, right? Stop blaming others for your problems. It's not out there. When you have one finger pointing out there, guess what? There's three pointing back at yourself. So this is about looking within and taking responsibility for what shows up in your world. Let go of your judgment. Okay. If you're judging other people, I can pretty much guarantee you that you're judging yourself. Probably worse than other people, because other people are just your reflection. It's like looking in a mirror. And that's something that I remember hearing from Shakti Gawain, I believe, or Gawain, Gawain is her last name. You can look it up. But she wrote a book called Creative Visualization, and she talked about the mirror principle. And so Louise Hay also talks about that with the mirror principle. When we look at ourselves, who's looking back at you? Yourself. So it's about looking within ourselves, stopping the judgment out there and looking inside, accepting things exactly as they are, and even accepting things as they're not, right? Because sometimes we have to accept what we don't have because that is their gateway to freedom. Decide for yourself, what is it that you really want? How do you want to experience your life from the influences that are within your control? Reset your expectations. Decide differently. Shift your expectations to one of less, really less expectations is more acceptance. So that's what we want to look for, is more acceptance rather than having these expectations that we can't possibly reach. Bring it to a level that you may not be exactly what you want, but you're willing to say yes to it. Because when you say yes to things, things actually shift to be able to have more yes in your life. So as I said, with this 21-day program, which we created, you can set it up at your own pace. So you might want to spend an entire 2 to 3 weeks on fear. Maybe your fear is extreme. Maybe you're really up against it. And so you really need to dive in to see how deep down the rabbit hole does this fear really go? How much up against it have I really been in the face of fear? Do I deal with panic attacks? Do I deal with somebody else's stuff around fear that I have to handle? Really just take the time, do all of the different exercises in that first day of the program. As we're looking at fear, then we look at our society and we look at our belief systems, we look at money, we look at relationships, our physical body, and your story about yourself, and how others are also telling your story about yourself. and what they believe about you. In this next phase after that, which is the next week of the program, you're really looking at finding spiritual solutions. So, this program I created through my own experience of my own life and my spiritual evolution. So, the second week, I've pulled together all of the different spiritual tools that I have used in my own life that I have found work really well for me. And I have found as I've coached other people that it works really well for them. So I'm looking at sacred ceremony and how that has made a big impact on my life. I talk a little bit about working with the inner child and working with family of origin. That kind of deep healing is one that you will need to take on for yourself. I don't do necessarily do that deep counseling work, if you will, but I can assist you in finding avenues for that kind of work because it's liberating. Um, I also look into chakra systems, and I work with, the pillar of light, and I work with the God of your understanding and your higher self. So lots of different tools in the second week for you to look at. The third week, we really bring it all together into how do we bring the human self, which is all reaction and problem solving in the world, and then we bring it together with your spiritual tools, all the different ways to look at spiritual solutions. How do we bring it all together into a full body system wellness program? That's what I have. That's what I have to offer. And in the coaching that I do, because you have purchased this program yourself, you get half off coaching sessions with me. So you can do that anytime that doesn't expire. So you can contact me at the empowermeshow@gmail.com to set those up. If you have questions that you want answered and clarification for that, you can also email me at the empowermeshow.com and gmail.com to ask for any information that you need. I'm also at brightbutterflyenterprises.com. That's my website. Gives you more in-depth information about my services. And there is a YouTube playlist. I think actually there's several YouTube playlists within the program itself, but we have a YouTube playlist specifically for today's episode. We also have created a Pinterest board for you. Those of you who like to have visuals. Oh yes, and the splash page. The splash page is what you actually probably saw if you were on Facebook. You saw this picture come up of my face with butterfly wings. Told you all about the different services that I have to offer as far as the Empower Me show and today's episode. Next month, we're going to be talking about phase 2, as I said. And this is what week of the month? This is third week of the month. We'll talk again about phase 2. So we'll talk about the spiritual solutions. And next week, we're going to talk about spirit partners for life. My husband, David Buck, is going to come on, and we are going to bring on our next guest, who's going to talk about Native American spirituality. Our friend Walter Moeller is going to join us for that. So please know that I am available to you for any questions, any concerns. Please know that you can go to fullbodysystemwellness.com, get more information other than what I've given you here. I realize this was a packed episode full of lots of information for you, but please know that anything that you want to experience in your life, it takes your intention. That's how it starts. And I want to let you know that as a spiritual being having a human experience, I am so proud of you for making this choice to come into this human form. because it takes a very courageous being to do that. So I am so glad to be with you on this journey. And I love you. I love you. I love you. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in every Monday at 3 p.m. to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.